to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean, January 11th. Great weekend in sports, a lot of NFL action. AFC, NFC wildcard talk, off-season questions for those losing teams, and of course NBA action, of course. And college football championship is tonight. Get our picks: Alabama, Clemson, and of course somebody has to get really low. I think a couple will come from the NFL. Seems about that time of year.
I had a list of people who I want to really though. Usually I have about two, and I'm kind of flipping the coin to figure out who I'm going to give it, who's going to get it. But this weekend I just had like about 5 people be, but I narrowed it down. We good.
You know, the NFL playoffs, emotions are high, so people do stupid things.
Yep.
And that's why they end up on the show.
Yep. How was your weekend, fam? Was everything good?
Great weekend.
How was mom's birthday, man?
Oh, it was awesome.
Man, make sure you tell her happy belated birthday for me. And I ain't see that post till later on Cindy's page, and she was like, happy birthday to this one, man. I think she said she baked a good old apple pie.
Cherry pie.
Cherry pie?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I got it all wrong. No, it wasn't even apple, it was cherry. My bad, Cindy. I ain't dissing your pie.
I heard it went hard, but you know me, I don't partake in those type of foods.
Right on.
How was your weekend?
Oh man, it was good. Got to catch some of these games, and just my girl's on vacation, so I got to spend some time with her and sit back for a minute. She allowed me to watch some of the games, and yes, I use the word allowed because when we men know when we're in a relationship, watching football or watching any kind of sports don't always go so well. But it was a great weekend. I won't complain.
Started off on the show here on Saturday. AFC games at first. Let's get the blowout out of the way. The Chiefs took on the Texans in Houston. And the Chiefs beat the Houston Texans 30-0.
The only way Houston would have had a chance at winning this game was the same way we said that the only way you can beat Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant is what? You beat them in they sleep with the bat, because that was the only way how Houston was going to beat Tennessee was by forfeit.
Well,
Houston was going to beat Kansas City.
I believe it was possible because I did pick Houston. So I have to protect my judgment a little bit.
Of course, it's
like there was a chance. The problem with this was the gift basket of the week turned up. Brian Hoyer.
5 total turnovers.
Oh. Just hand him the game, please.
4 interceptions and a fumble, I believe. It got to a point where I heard fans screaming, "We want Brandon." And as a Cowboy fan, I found it hilarious because I was like, these people are screaming for Brandon Weeden. I thought I tweeted out there to y'all once before, Brandon Weeden give it and he'll take it away. Just like how he'll have you win a game,
so
he'll
Brian
take
Hoyer,
it away.
Apparently. He can give this away a lot.
But you know what though? I also sent a tweet out. Brandon Weeden is actually pretty good in games that he doesn't start or if he comes in for an injured guy. And at that time, the game was still in reach. I think it was like 13-0. But another team that has a lot of questions at the position, they very fortunate to have been in the division that they was in this year, and probably bought Bill O'Brien another year because at first it was looking like they was gonna let him go.
I would let him go.
You still would let him go now?
Well, you gotta think the quarterback problem is his fault. He's the one that decided to bring in Ryan Mallett and put it all on Ryan Mallett, then figured it out very early that Ryan Mallett is not that guy. It's still on him to me.
Was it him or was it the organization that passed on young David Carr?
Derek Carr. But it was
Derek? Oh, man, yeah.
Derek Carr. No, you don't want David. They already did that once.
Yeah, poor old David. You know what? That's funny because I saw David Carr on NFL Network over the weekend. And I was like, yo.
They were on the NFL Network. He wasn't on the college one.
No, he was on NFL Network. Like, they was asking, like, him questions like, yo, what would you do? Like, yo.
All right, y'all heard his answer. Do the exact opposite. That's messed up. There's no reason for shots on that.
It's not his fault they didn't give him an offensive line. They got him a weapon, but that was the. Oh man.
As we go into the world of the haters.
I'm not hating on David Carr. Get your money.
Yo, Pete, real quick. In the Texans game, did you see what old boy said? He was, oh man, receiver over there. What's your boy name over there? Real big receiver. Played with Sammy Watkins, receiver over there. DeAndre Hopkins. They got a close up of his mouth when he was looking at the coaches telling him, get him the bleep out the game. It blew up on Twitter. And everybody slowed it down. Like, yo, he said, get him the bleep. Now, what you choose to put in that bleep, know that it wasn't a very nice word. So we get him the bleep out the game. And that was like early in the third quarter. And, well, poor DeAndre, they didn't listen, man.
Yeah, he had to go in there and take that. He didn't want no parts of Kansas City no more.
Right, though.
He was mentally fatigued by the scoreboard, as some other people were, because I'm letting you know Houston's not done being talked about. Moving on to the next game, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Very interesting events led to Pittsburgh winning the game 18-16.
Ah, man. Never seen a team implode like that.
You know, shout out to Pittsburgh's rushing attack
Right.
real quick because, you know, D'Angelo Williams out.
Right.
Still got 167 yards rushing.
Right. I mean, and that was a sloppy game. Like, when I say sloppy game, I mean weather-wise. Like, it was, I don't know if it looked like it was a rain of mixture and snow flurries, but that's how fat the raindrops were. I was like, yo, is it snow flurries? Is it like, God, that weather was bad, which it didn't bode well for a young quarterback starting his first playoff game.
I mean, for both teams, you had a total of 7 fumbles.
Yeah.
2 by Pittsburgh, 5 by Cincinnati. Cincinnati lost 3 of them, which is in large part why they did not come away with the win.
And you still think about it, kind of goes to show you the difference between having, you know, a veteran quarterback and a young quarterback who's starting his first playoff game against a division opponent. Antonio Brown still managed to get 7 receptions and 119 yards.
Do you think Andy Dalton might have been happy that he didn't play?
You know what? Honestly, when you look at this game and the way they was in this game, I kind of wonder if they probably would have put up some points, because like it was plays out there, but then a lot of plays wasn't made for the young quarterback either.
That's almost exactly my point, though.
Yeah.
Because had he came in and lost this game, Andy Dalton, we all know his reputation.
Right.
He's got that can't do it in the playoffs reputation.
Mm-hmm.
He would have came in there and lost that game. Him and Marvin Lewis might be out of time.
That's true if it wasn't for what happened at the end of the game with the whole penalty on Vontaze Burfict, and worse was the penalty on Pac-Man Jones. So I think they probably would have got a bye. I mean, they would have got a skip on that, because as much as people want to look at and blame Vontaze Burfict, let's be for real. He got the turnover to pretty much ice the game. He got the pick. He got the interception from Jones. And that's when he caught the interception, took it back, ran all the way back to the back room, back behind the wall. He got it. Then Hill comes in, fumbles the ball on the very next play. You talk about 2 turnovers by both teams within seconds of each other, minutes of each other. Proved to be costly for him, man. I actually felt for that team after the loss, because it wasn't nothing else Marvin Lewis could do. Everybody wants him to lose his job, but it's like,
I say we'll get more in depth in that.
Right.
Coming up later in the show, we will do off-season questions for all the teams that got eliminated, which was Houston, Cincinnati from the AFC. Coming up on the Sports Machine, we'll get on to the NFC side. To the Sports Machine, this is Brian Franklin with today's sports ticker. Big weekend in the NFL. The kickoff for the playoffs happened Saturday. The action started with the AFC. The Texans got blanked by the Chiefs, losing 30-0. The Steelers got a close victory over the Bengals, 18-16. On Sunday, it was time for the NFC, in which the Seahawks won off of a missed field goal against the Vikings, 10-9. The Packers won the matchup against the Redskins, 35-18. From the NBA scores from last night, the Clippers won an overtime game against the Pelicans, 114-111. The Timberwolves suffered their sixth straight loss, this one to the hands of the Dallas Mavericks, 93-87. Philadelphia lost again, this one to the Cavaliers, which won 95-85. The Grizzlies won a close game against the Celtics, 101-98. In the overtime game, the Pacers fell to the Rockets, 107-103. The Bucks lost to the Knicks, 100-88. The Nuggets beat the Hornets, 95-92. The Trailblazers won 115-110 over the Thunder, and the Jazz beat the Lakers 86-74. This is the Sports Machine. Just went over the AFC wildcard games from this weekend. On Sunday, the NFC played, starting with the early game, the Seahawks and the Vikings. Now, I picked the Vikings.
You did.
And I will take this loss. Because actually it was I thought the Vikings were going to win the whole game until they started letting Russell Wilson scramble.
And the thing is about this, the thing that I took away from this game was the fact that Seattle looked really cold. I mean, once again, it's -5. Like it was
cold.
Right. It was very cold. So I can't sit there and blame them for looking cold, but it's like, you still got a game y'all got to go out there and play. And had it not been for this defense, they could have been ran out of Minnesota. Had it been a warmer game, I believe. Because I think it affected the way Russell Wilson was able to throw the football from the standpoint of like receivers catching the ball, except for that one catch Doug Baldwin had with the one hand where he went up almost like Jordan-esque pose with the one hand, which was a beautiful catch. But other than that, if it wasn't for one play that Russell Wilson made,
the snap over his head or by him,
the fumble,
and then got a first down. On a 3rd and long to Tyler Lockett.
Right. Had it not been for that play right there, who knows? You probably don't even need the kicker to come in and try to win the game for you at the end of the game.
I put this game on one person. That's Adrian Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not only because of the fumble, because he did fumble. And he always hold the ball out. He has a fumbling problem. He's always had a fumbling problem. He's just so good that there's no point fixing it because he's so good.
Right. Like, especially a guy who's won his 3rd Russian title.
Yeah, it's like you can't say anything to him about it. Mm-hmm. He keeps putting up numbers the way he does.
Right. But I think an alarming stat popped up about about Adrian Peterson. I think he's had the most fumbles in the second half than anybody in the league this year. I think he's tied with another running back. I think I can't remember who the other running back was. Give me a second, I'll check it out. But he's tied with another running back for the most fumbles in the second half.
Besides the fumble, it's a cold weather game. Mm-hmm. You run the ball a lot.
Right.
You think, well, who's got the advantage in the run game? Kristen Michael with Seattle because they didn't have Marshawn Lynch, or Adrian Peterson in Minnesota. You're like, that's Adrian Peterson all day.
Right.
23 carries for 45 yards.
They bothered him
the
up.
Same dude that was blaming the coaches for not getting him the ball.
Right.
Teddy Bridgewater throws 17 for 24. No interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Teddy Bridgewater done what he's done all season. Managed the game. And one thing I embrace I like about Teddy Bridgewater is the fact that he embraced the fact that right now this is whose team? It's Adrian Peterson's team. And he accepts that. And so he goes out there and do what the coaching staff asks him to do. Hey, manage the game. If the throw is there, make the throw. If it's not there, get rid of it. Don't turn the ball over. And so I commend him for the way he's played these past 2 seasons. I mean, you can only see more upside for him as they begin to get him more weapons and make the offense a little bit more dynamic to help him out. Because people forget, Teddy Bridgewater is not exactly the fastest of guys, but he also has some wheels himself, and he also know how to make plays outside the pocket as well as running and extending the play. But one thing I had took away from this game was the fact that on the defensive side, you talk about a team that's hard to run against. I mean, Michael Bennett, he whooped that offensive line up and down. I mean, you can see why they give him the freedom to do what he want to do. Hey, play on the inside on this one, play on the outside on this one, like this, because he was beating everybody who was lined up across him, even in double teams.
Yeah, he was dominating.
Right.
I mean, it was a defensive game, no doubt.
Right.
Blair Walsh missed the final kick, had made 3 prior. Laces were in.
Mm-hmm.
So some people blame the holder, some people still blame the kicker because they think he should have made it.
I also, that was sports science. The little ESPN sports science done a deal about how hard the ball gets in cold weather. I mean, for one, the guy made 3 field goals already, kicking a ball that had to feel like every time he kicked it, had to feel like he was kicking like a ton of bricks, a center block or something, because that's how your toes get numb, the ball gets harder, and like you said before, just one unfortunate event happened and it cost the team a game. And like I said before, as much as everybody wants to sit back and blame the kicker, let's not forget he made 3 of them to still keep them in the game. And so you sit back and you ask the offense, ask the defense, why weren't you guys able to make plays? Why weren't you guys able to get a turnover, make something happen? Why wasn't you guys putting up touchdowns? If on at least one of those drives where he had to kick a field goal, right, B? If they scored at least a touchdown on that, it's not even a game. They win a game without it.
That's why I put it on Adrian Peterson.
Right.
You're supposed to be the best running back in the league.
Right.
You got 45 yards on 23 carries.
Right.
Or you put it on the offensive line, but I'm not putting it on Bridgewater.
Right.
I'm not putting it on the coach, AP, because I know that's what you like to do is blame the coach.
Right.
He got you the ball.
Right.
What'd you do with it? And then you fumbled when you had the lead, just trying to run time down.
Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff, because it was expected. They was expecting Marshawn Lynch to play this weekend, and Marshawn Lynch got majority of the first round reps at running back this week. Waited all the way till Friday to tell the team he couldn't go, like he wasn't gonna be able to do it. So this whole team had to scramble and try to make something happen with running backs that didn't get any of the first team reps at all. So shout out to the coaching staff and for just doing what they supposed to do, man. Make the adjustments, and shout out to Christian Michael, a couple other running backs who went in and still done their part, even though a lot of times they didn't know what was happening. So
for the second game, the Green Bay Packers played the Redskins in Washington, and yes, the 4th straight road team won.
Yep.
With the Packers beating the Redskins 35-18.
That's never happened in the opening wild card playoff. All road teams won.
You got to think you had Houston and Washington had lesser records than the wild card team.
Yeah.
Plus Cincinnati had a backup quarterback.
Right.
Plus Seattle had all the momentum.
Right.
It's kind of like you could kind of foresee this coming.
Right.
Didn't expect it.
Everybody kind of held out hope, but with Washington, they had all the momentum in the first quarter. The momentum was all theirs. It was theirs for the taking. It didn't start to get away from them until the second quarter. They came back in the second half, took the lead back, and from there, they wound up giving the wrong guy mode. They gave the wrong guy. They let him get rhythm. That was my knock on the Cowboys last year. It wasn't that. I was a little bit upset about the catch that wasn't But I was more upset at the fact that we had a quarterback last year who was playing on one leg, and we couldn't seem to blitz or get at him to get him on the ground, rough him up, make him feel those hits. Well, this year they done exactly what the Cowboys did last year in the divisional round. Allowed the wrong quarterback, an MVP quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a one-day Hall of Fame quarterback get in rhythm with his offense. And once he got in a rhythm, once he got in a rhythm with the pass game, it opened up the run game.
Yes.
Because they didn't see the cutback coming at all. And once they start hitting the cutbacks with Lacey and Starks, this team was done. They was getting gashed they was getting gashed 10 to 15 yards. Can't give up that kind of yards and then expect to win.
Look in the second quarter, Green Bay took a hold of the game when Aaron Rodgers hit that deep pass to James Jones.
Exactly.
Right down the middle. Just dropped it in. It was like,
because other than that, they was frustrating him. Like, they actually was getting to him in the first, like you said, for the first quarter and a half. You want to talk about a quarterback that wasn't comfortable. Aaron Rodgers wasn't comfortable. They didn't make it comfortable. The defensive line, they was getting to him. They was getting to him with the blitz, but it's one thing when you start sustaining long drives. What happens to the defense? They begin to look, they get, the longer the drive, the more gassed they are. And the last thing you want is your defense gassed when you have a quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
the only reason I think the Redskins were even made this look decent is because of Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed, man.
Yo,
he's
like,
a dude right now,
I'm
man.
gonna let you know Kirk Cousins got saved from a gift basket
Oh,
with that one-handed catch by Jordan Reed.
that was clearly finna. It was pick six.
It was.
It was pick six.
And Jordan Reed just snatched it. And then there was another one where Kirk Cousins threw between like 6 people and Jordan Reed just came
Batted
down with
down.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, Jordan Reed,
Like,
you come on,
Like-
quality tight end in this league.
like, thank you, Jordan Reed. You're gonna be a quarterback's best friend before you know it.
Next up, moving straight, keeping it NFL. For the losers, there's a lot of questions, off-season questions. Starting the AFC. Task number 1 for the Houston Texans. First of all, you're gonna keep the coach.
Right. Like I said, because
I think they're gonna keep him. My thing is, like, I don't have a problem with O'Brien. What he's done.
I kind of do, and then it's crazy because I'm kind of conflicted with it. It's like, I think there are other better offensive coaches. When you have the weapon, like, they clearly are pretty set on defense.
They're set on defense. They have weapons.
Right.
Not the greatest running back. Core,
Right.
Because, Foster gets hurt. Okay. Like, the fact that people keep relying on Foster every year is
It's-
beyond me. I don't
exactly.
understand.
Like, he's a talented running back when he's there, but
It's like counting on Ryan Matthews.
I don't understand.
Like,
Brian Franklin says it best. Your best ability is what, sir?
availability.
And, well, he's not always available. Exactly.
Then the next question is, who you going to get at quarterback? Do you go out and get another quarterback? Because I know you're not going to keep with Mr. Brian Hoyer, gift basket of the week.
Most definitely. I think this team right here, because you've made the playoffs, it's not a guarantee that any of the top picks is going to be there. Like, far as, not sure where they're going to have a lot of these quarterbacks rated at along when the draft comes, unless they plan on trying to trade up to get a pro-ready quarterback right now. I think that this team begins to look at, Robert Griffin and a lot of these other quarterbacks that may be ready now. Given if you have an offensive-minded coach, I'm not sure what Bill O'Brien, where he hangs his hat at. Every head coach has what's supposed to have an identity. Like Lovie Smith, he hangs his hat on defense. He's a great defensive coach.
He's an offensive coach.
He's an offensive coach.
Like, he was offensive coordinator, I think, for the Patriots. And then he went to Penn State.
Right.
Turned them around fast.
Right.
So then he got an NFL job right away.
Right.
I mean, the reason he wasn't in New England anymore, I'm not going to talk about that.
like I said, man, it's some coaches out there that people just are really sleeping on. Like I'm saying, if I'm Houston, I ain't gonna lie to you. I let Bill O'Brien go, and I look to go ahead and, man, I'm gonna say his name again.
Sam McDaniels.
Exactly.
I think they're about the same, really, in coaching.
Yeah.
I think they're about the same. I think
But
both of them think they can work wonders at quarterback. Both of them think they can fix broken quarterbacks.
Except for one has proof.
See, I don't agree.
You don't?
I don't consider Tim Tebow like a broken quarterback. He just used Tim Tebow when he did best because he could.
Right.
Because that's all he could do with him. You couldn't fix him. And
He-
there's nothing wrong with using what he does best.
Right.
The problem is ain't none of these other quarterbacks got that.
See, my reason why I disagree with you is mainly because of the fact that he won games with them. He won their division, got him into a playoff game, and then beat a Super Bowl favorite. Regardless of if it was one pass or one fluke play, hey, sometimes if that's all you need to win a game, then you take it. You take that one win and you run with it. And he got that team to the playoffs with the quarterback who have nobody else been able to do anything with. You know, so
I don't think. All right, we're not gonna
But-
do that because
right,
that conversation
right.
will take way too long. Because
right.
when it comes to that, like I just thought the defense won all their games.
And I like the way Josh McDaniel uses weapons. He gets balls to his weapons. Like, unlike
Well, I think that's what Bill O'Brien did. That's how they made the playoffs. DeAndre Hopkins got the ball.
At times.
That's why they went. At times they got to the playoffs.
yeah,
You just talk about getting to
just
the
so
playoffs.
happened. Yeah, they got him to playoffs, but then just like everybody kind of shoots down the NFC East, can also shoot down the NFC South, AFC South.
I mean, it's not like the division McDaniels one was good. They were like 8-8.
No,
They ever say they were a wild card. They didn't win the division. Like they were like 8-8 that year. Am I correct?
no, I don't think so. I think they was.
All right, I'm gonna go look.
I almost want to say they was 10-6.
I'm gonna go look.
I could be wrong, but hey, once again, that's a teammate. They got some. We both agree that they both have some upside. Like Houston has some upside with somebody solid at quarterback, someone who's not going to turn the ball over, and they basically going to need to go ahead and get a running back. So they need to be. I think they really need a running back more than a quarterback. I believe.
I don't think that.
Because a running game can set up the passing game. And that's just what I see from that team. Whether it's Robert Griffin, whether it's they go waiting on, see what's happening with whether or not the Saints is going to pay Drew Brees that kind of money that he is expecting to get paid this year. Who knows? They may be able to snatch him up for see what they can get out of Drew Brees for another year or two. You know, can you imagine that connection right there, Drew Brees and DeAndre Hopkins? We both know Drew Brees can get the ball to his receivers. Not to mention, I mean, Drew Brees is a Texan. He came out of Austin Westlake. That's what. Not to mention, like I said before, it's a whole bunch of other guys coming out. But when we look at who else is that? When you look at Cincinnati, what you think about Cincinnati? What else? What other adjustments can Cincinnati make?
They have to stick around for a whole nother year because Andy Dalton got hurt.
Exactly.
They're pretty much stuck in the same exact. You can't fire Marvin Lewis because AJ McCarron was in the game.
Right.
And they still had a chance to win.
Right. It's not your fault that your running back that you sent out there fumbled the ball. Now, I know what everybody's saying. Well, Pittsburgh still had 3 timeouts. But my deal was they had 3 timeouts. They still would have had to wind up if Cincinnati makes a field goal, because at the time Vontaze Burfict got the interception, got the turnover, they were in field goal range. So if the kicker comes out, he makes the field goal, now you force Pittsburgh to have to drive.
At the same time, it's Ben Roethlisberger. It's not like he hasn't been known to do that.
Yeah, but also I'm looking at the fact that even when you listen after the game, Ben Roethlisberger told me, he's like, man, I cannot make another deep throw like he had, like the one he threw that got them the flag.
I believe. I mean, Yeah, I believe that, but when you're adrenaline pumping, last play of the game, I mean, you don't think people would have found a way to get to the end zone? It's tough. Okay.
Not against
All
that
right,
defense.
We moving on.
Not against that defense. But I don't know. I can't.
I'm not
see
saying
what
he
other,
would do it. I'm just saying you don't think he'd be able to put the power on it to do it.
He would have tried, but then it would have got picked off. It wouldn't have done him no good.
See, that's where we differ because I mean I've seen him play through injuries and all that before.
Yeah, a lot of guys have played through injuries, but how effective are they?
I think Saban Rosenberg's done pretty well. Minnesota's next losing team, pretty much keep everything the same.
Yeah, most definitely.
Don't know what
Besides another receiver threat.
It's all just because their receivers are not very good. So you have
Right.
Stephon Diggs being the dude
Right.
now.
So
I didn't even know about him until this year.
exactly. And they just really need, like, they could benefit from actually a red zone threat type of receiver, like a Calvin Johnson if he doesn't retire.
Well, anybody could benefit from Calvin Johnson.
Somebody, they need a big time, they need a red zone threat. Maybe and possibly, once again, a quarterback's best friend is a tight end. So if they can they got some good receiving tight ends coming out this year in the draft. Possibly grab another tight end to help out. Once again, I think they'll make the offense just as dynamic. But otherwise, on defense, these guys are pretty dynamic. They probably grab another young cornerback because Terrence Newman is good, but Terrence Newman has played well off in Zimmer's defense. But eventually, hey, you got to look at him and say, like you looked at Charles Woodson to me, hey, it's only so long you're gonna be able to play.
As for the Redskins, my main question, because now they're Kirk Cousins bound, they have to have them.
Right.
Their defense is good. I like their offense. They got good weapons. They got Alfred Morris, so they got a running back.
Right.
Basically, my question is, what they have now, is it possible they're going to win the NFC East again?
It's possible, but is it likely? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean,
Especially if Dallas is healthy.
right. And if Dallas is healthy and depending on what New York do with their coaching position, who they get and what else they tend to add, who knows, they still may keep Victor Cruz on the roster. I think they need to make some adjustments. They're going to wind up, New York might wind up making some key adjustments on defense. Who knows? Lovie Smith may go there. That was their problem, was the defense. They got an offense, but their defense was the problem. So who knows? Maybe Lovie Smith goes there, turns their defense around.
As long as they don't go get the defense coordinator from Jacksonville, they'll be all right.
Right. But I guess to get back on topic with the Redskins is, as bad as the NFC East was this year, like you said before, you still got to look at in my opinion, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Cowboys homer, but it's like when you look at, on paper, who has the most talented team. Well, in my opinion, you look at Dallas and you look at New York.
The only problem with this, like Dallas has been that team for years.
Right. Look good on paper, but don't always seem to put it together. Right. Right. I can't argue with that. The numbers speak for itself. The past records, except for last year, if you go back, prior to the last season, they was 8-8. They averaged 8-8.
Speaking of 8-8, I was right.
You was right. Okay.
The Broncos, they finished 8-8.
They did. Well, they was right.
And actually won the division off of a tiebreaker.
Well, sometimes.
And they hosted that team, so they were at home when they beat the Steelers.
Well,
you never guess what is on here.
What's on
it?
It
Also mentions the throw.
It mentions the throw.
They call it the throw.
The throw.
The throw that looked like a basketball pad. But, speaking of basketball, up next on Sports Machine, we go around the NBA.
I'm Dwayne Dean with your Sports Machine News Update. The issue of Marvin Lewis' future in Cincinnati really isn't much of an issue, as the Bengals have no plans to make a head coaching change at this time, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. With the Bengals' wild 18-16 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, Lewis became the first NFL coach to sport an 0-7 postseason mark. Lewis has a 112-94 record with the Bengals in the regular season, He has been the team's head coach since 2003. Ken Griffey Jr. paused, and for a moment the joking stopped. Jr. became thoughtful and reflective about an idea of his number 24 hanging next to Jackie Robinson's number 42 as the only numbers retired at Seiko Field. Mariners announced that Griffey's number 24 would become the first number retired in franchise history during the ceremony in August, about 2 weeks after his Hall of Fame induction. The number retirement is throughout the organization, including the minors, meaning no one associated with the minors will ever wear a number 24 again. Alabama offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin said Saturday he would hire former USC coach Steve Sarkisian if he ever has the opportunity. Quote, "Oh, I definitely would hire him," Kiffin said, discussing Sarkisian as one of many myriad topics covered during Media Day Saturday for the College Football National Championship. People go through things and things happen. There are all kinds of comeback stories. Hopefully, he'll be one of them, close quote. The Pittsburgh Steelers hold optimistic that quarterback Ben Roethlisberger can play through what the team initially believed was a sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. A source told ESPN. Roethlisberger told reporters Sunday that his shoulder was sore and turned himself day to day ahead of next Sunday's playoff game against the Denver Broncos. I am Dwayne Dean with your Sports Machine News Update. Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the NFL playoff games that happened this weekend, AFC, NFC, and off-season questions for those who had lost. Had to sneak some NBA at the end of the weekend. Biggest thing to me that happened in the NBA was Lionel Hollins got fired by the Nets.
They claimed it was for a fresh start.
The Nets need more than a fresh start. They didn't.
Yeah.
They might as well just resell, rebuy.
And and it's for a minute there, I thought that Prokhorov was looking to sell the team. I mean, at least I heard reports about this maybe a year or so ago, like when they was having the fire sale and all those players and those bad contracts that they had signed, when they was trying to do the same thing that Miami had done, which was buy a championship. Well, not Miami didn't buy a championship, but they was trying to get.
They were trying to buy it.
Yeah, the Nets was trying to buy a championship. Not saying that Miami bought a championship. So
They did.
who Miami?
That's what all basketball teams do.
I don't think they bought that championship. It ain't their fault that LeBron James decided to leave. He just said, "Hey, want to come down to Miami? Let him go to Miami."
That's still buying the championship. No matter what team it is, they bought a championship. They pay money to the players and they win. They didn't do it through the draft. They bought a championship.
They got him through free agency.
It's buying a championship. That's what that is. There's nothing wrong with it.
Either way, it didn't work for them. It didn't work for them like it worked for Miami. So that's when they start having that fire sale on the D. Williamses and everybody.
Get
So
rid of Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson is just sitting there making money.
I ain't mad at him. I wasn't mad at him for taking the money they gave him to begin with.
I'm not retiring. I'm not
Nothing.
stepping down.
Exactly.
Just keep sending me a check. You can put me on the bench.
Exactly. He said, "I
Wait.
come in six man."
You know, you don't got. You know, I'll come to the game in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't know who the Nets are gonna go get.
Manny Ramirez him.
I don't know who the Nets are gonna go get. If Lionel Hollins can do nothing with the team, I don't know.
They didn't even give him a chance. Like, he didn't even get a legit chance to just try to turn things around. I mean,
Maybe Philadelphia give him a call. Thanks. Nah, they trying to lose too much.
yeah, thank you. I was about to say, no, man, yeah, right. Them looking at Lionel Hollins is looking at them like, because with Lionel Hollins, once upon a time in the old East, they probably could have made the playoffs with Lionel Hollins coaching because he's a great defensive-minded coach. Correct?
Yes.
So with with defensive player guys, they would have made at least an 8 seed now.
Now it's hard to get AC.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Philly needs to be off in the West.
Philly needs a new owner, new everything.
Right,
They
right.
need to be in a new city for 2 years, then come back. I don't know what they need to do.
Right.
Relocate them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Change sports. Cause put the Harlem Globetrotters up against them. I don't know.
Harlem Globetrotters. Say,
Do work.
Yo,
Make
they
them
put
look
in work.
stupider than they know they would. Maybe we'll go a little too hard on Philly.
oh man, we done went to a bashing fest of just But that, like you said, when I saw that report, it surprised me too. I was like,
Maybe Memphis will give him a call.
hey,
Like, yo, we made a mistake.
it ain't nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong, Memphis. It ain't nothing wrong with admitting your mistakes. It's part of life. I had to admit I was wrong. I thought Denver went 10-6. Come to find out, it was 8-8 off of luck. According to everybody else, off of luck throw and every doggone thing. So that whole thing was a luck. So I admit that I was wrong on that part.
I say the whole thing was luck.
But according to what you read,
I'm just stating that the throw looked like a basketball pass. And they're 8-8. No, like that's, it's not luck. They win 8-8. Cleveland won their 7th straight game. So my question now, I mean, it was against Philadelphia, but that's irrelevant.
mm-hmm.
They won their 7th straight game.
Right?
As close and contested the Eastern Conference has become, evening it out with the Western Conference.
Right.
Is this still like a one-team race?
I think it's going to be difficult. I don't know.
Because listen to this: the difference between Cleveland and the second place team in the Eastern is Chicago. Chicago was 4 games behind Cleveland. Difference in the Western Conference between the Warriors and Spurs is 3.5.
Nah, I don't. You know what? I still gotta see what this team is gonna look like when they still getting. I know it's only been a couple of weeks since Kyrie's come back, but I still want to see this team when have gotten at least a good month and a half, 2 months before I can even say that this is going to be a one-team race. But as of right now, even with them taking the number 1 seed, right? Even playing a number 8 seed right now is not going to be a for sure sweeping like it used to would be.
Right now, the 8 seed's Orlando Magic, and I think that would be a sweep.
Crap. Something happened. Well, you got to say that for the power rankings this week because I got to check out the records like of what happened because I think last week.
I think the Celtics are half a game behind them.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay, so that's what I was about to say. I'm like, I know somebody else was in that spot and Beantown Boston gave him a hard time last year in the first round.
Oh,
Actually got Kevin Love out the mix. Not intentionally as Kevin would put it,
Maybe.
but
That was really sketchy the way you said that.
because he made it seem like Kelly Olynyk tried to break his.
I'm gonna let you know if I'm Jay Crowder, I got problems with JR as soon as we step on the court.
Well,
So
in that
you tore my
situation,
whole knee with a backhand. We got problems.
yeah, true story. But knowing you, like you got a problem with anybody who's in the way of you trying to win something.
Well,
I mean, that's just from a competitive standpoint. You're just a competitive guy. I think everybody who's really competitive and cares about winning gonna feel that way. But I think people need to really be on the lookout for Miami, though.
yeah, right now they're the 5 seed, and I'm looking out for Miami and Indiana the
Right.
most. And
Right.
Chicago, if they can ever get consistent enough to put together a whole 7-game series, will be interesting.
And I still want to hold out some type of hope for Washington and say that they're gonna get it together at some point in
They're
time.
16-19, 3 games out of the 8th spot.
So it's possible,
It is definitely possible.
right?
I think injuries have killed them early. It's kind of stopped all their momentum.
Injuries can't do that to you. Just look at what happened to Oklahoma City those couple of weeks that Kevin Durant is out. I think we said that last show. Wasn't for Kevin Durant being out right now, it's like all that work Golden State is doing over there wouldn't even matter because the top 3 teams is still like 1 or 2 games back.
That's it. Moving forward from the NBA, it's time. We told you Friday that we will pick the championship game. Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. It's time. Tonight, Alabama does play Clemson, in which Alabama's a 7-point favorite, which I'm still not very keen on.
Neither one of us is keen on it.
7 points. I wonder where Vegas is going with this. I wonder if a lot of people who put money on where.
I think it's the fisherman's trick. You know, you have you have that certain kind of lure that's great at luring fish no matter what. With that lure, you're going to catch something. I think that's what that is. That's a lure. a fisherman's lure. And thank you. I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take it for squat. Now, granted, out of the both of us, you're the numbers guy. Like, you good with the odds and taking the, taking the points, not taking the points and things like that. Like, you're better than me with that. I'm a straight up betting guy. If my team beats your team, that's just all that matters. I don't care about spread and all that stuff there. But that's only because I don't really look into that. My man across from me, he's a numbers guy, so he's A1 with them numbers. I ain't met too many cats who's A1 with these numbers. A1 with them numbers like B Frank, but for the most part, when it comes to the Vegas odds, like, I'm actually surprised that they just. It's like, because both teams played last Thursday.
I guess Alabama just looked way more impressive.
Right.
Either that they thought that badly of Oklahoma.
Which I don't understand why they would think that bad of Oklahoma when Oklahoma, they made their case for why they deserve to be in. I mean, I know they, they gave them the business and all, but could it have been like, I'm not sure what Michigan State had done throughout to make anybody think that they was going to actually. I think from a physical standpoint on defense, I think everybody was expecting a physical battle, which Michigan State came in. They did what they supposed to do, which was, stop the run and stop the run as much as they could, but they just didn't expect Coker to do anything with it at all. Like, and Coker's the one who killed them. Coker's the one who won the game for them. Coker in that defense. The moment Alabama got up more than 10 points, I believe, you was kind of looking at. We always looking at Michigan State like, if they score another point, you guys are done, because Michigan State is not exactly. I know they had a couple of games where they put up some points, but let's not act like the whole season they was just an offensive juggernaut where they was just averaging 30 points and 35 points a game. Like, they was playing in the 12.
In Michigan State, they had a lot of quarterback problems for the end of the season, with Cook being injured, having the backups in a couple games.
Right.
And, good to them. They still won games, went out there and did what they were supposed to do, and they deserved to make the playoffs.
Most definitely. It just sucks that they had to come across a team that was almost like a double ganger. When I say double gang, I mean like their offensive line their defensive line was just as big as Michigan State's offensive line, and vice versa. Michigan State's defensive line was just as big as Alabama's offensive line. I mean, but in the mirror match, Alabama proved that they were for real. So
I can't bash, because a lot of what I've seen is people bashing Clemson's defense, saying that they're not going to be able to hold Alabama. It's not like Alabama's got the greatest offense, by the way.
Thank you.
It's like they only gave up 17 to Oklahoma.
Right. And Oklahoma's been put. They're from the 12, and anyone who knows anything about college football know that the Big 12 can put up points. You just go back and look at the bowl, just a couple of bowl games between.
I'm just going to go through some regular season. All right. Oklahoma's last game against Oklahoma State, they put up 58.
And Oklahoma State was supposed to be like a very good, one of the better defensive teams in the Big 12.
I'm just going to go through all the points. They put up 30 against TCU, 44 against Baylor, 52 against Iowa State, 62 against Kansas, 63 against Texas Tech, 55 against Kansas State. Their lowest scoring game was against Texas, in which they lost, where they only scored 17. In West Virginia, they put up 44. Tulsa put up 52.
What about that Tennessee game? I know they came from
31.
behind. Wow.
And then Akron, they put up 41 against.
Right. And it's funny because they didn't put up all them points on Tennessee until the fourth quarter, because they was down in that game like 13-0, and Baker Mayfield just turned on the magic.
14 points in the fourth quarter and 14 points in overtime in that game.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. So once again, I guess you could see where I'm leaning towards.
It's pretty clear where we're leaning towards.
Right, like
we wouldn't be bashing the the line if we wasn't leaning towards the other way.
Right. I'm picking Clemson due to the fact that Deshaun Watson has a chip on his shoulder, and rightfully so.
The sole reason I'm picking them.
Right.
The only reason I'm picking Clemson is because of Deshaun Watson.
Because he came up in third place in the voting. And it wasn't close. It wasn't even close in the voting. It was basically a two-man race the way the voting had it. It was a two-man race between Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey. Now, Christian McCaffrey went out and done his thing off in, the Rose Bowl, which proved that he was worthy of those votes. But I'm sitting back thinking to myself still, if Deshaun Watson wasn't on his team, had Deshaun Watson went down at any point in time this season, Clemson's season was finished. Stick a fork in it. He is the sole reason why they are in the mix. Now, granted, football is the ultimate team sport, but you always have that one iconic player that seems to help elevate everybody else's play. And that's what Deshaun Watson is to Clemson. He's the one guy who elevates everybody, makes everybody want to play better than what they think they are. And to me, you can't underestimate something like that. I think Deshaun Watson's going to come out. He's going to have a game. I think Deshaun Watson is going to have at least 100 yards rushing in this game.
Against Alabama?
Yes. Because they're not going to be able to contain it.
Because that is, with the one game they lost was to a multi-threat quarterback.
Right.
And Deshaun Watson against Oklahoma ran for 145 yards.
And is one of the best, if not the best, multi-style quarterback in the game.
And you can't figure out what they're going to do.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
You have to stay true to your position, which Alabama, Nick Saban will have them staying true.
Right.
They're going to stay in their spot. So that's why it's so intriguing. This championship game is so intriguing to me. They're not going to, that read option, not necessarily just going to pull their defense in all the time and let Deshaun Watson get out.
Right.
For Alabama's sake, because I'm going to let you know, if you go after Gallman, Deshaun Watson goes.
He's outside.
Yeah.
He's outside. And he's looking to score when he gets outside.
Gallman's a really good running back, but can that offensive line inside hang with Alabama's inside interior defensive lines?
I think that is the true question. But the style of offense that they run, I'm not sure if Alabama's going to be able to switch. Everybody talks about the depth that they have at the defensive line, at the linebacker spot, being able to switch them out. Well, if this team gets it going, you're not going to always have a chance to get those other players in.
The best part is Deshaun Watson can actually pass. He's
Right.
not just a running quarterback, he can actually pass.
Right.
Reminds me a little bit of RG3 in that, Matt. He's probably not as good of a passer as RG3 was.
Right.
But he can pass.
Right.
He can get it downfield. So he will burn you if you just sell out all on that read option.
Right.
And I know there's probably read options, which they have pass option too.
Right. And my biggest question is not much about Alabama's defense, but it's exactly what you said. What about their offense? The defense, we know what they're going to get out the defense, right? But it's can Coker do what he done in the Cotton Bowl again? Because I honestly feel that if Clemson goes up at least 14 points, I think Alabama's in trouble. They're out of the game, in my opinion. Mainly because they're relying on Derrick Henry being able to run the ball and just giving you a constant dose of Derrick Henry running the ball. But if you're Dabo Swinney and you're the Clemson Tigers with Deshaun Watson, you looking at, hey, we can go ahead and take an early lead on this team. We take away their Heisman Trophy winner. Now we force their quarterback to beat us.
That has to be their sole plan, is to take away the run.
Right.
Because, their weakness is the run
Right.
defense is a weakness. So the whole weekend should be nothing but them just
8 man in the box.
make them beat you deep.
Right.
It's that time, though. I'm picking Clemson, by the way, if people didn't notice.
I think everybody noticed, like you said.
Really though. Real.
It's a sport, so just make you say, really, though?
Really though. Really though.
Who would you like to go first?
I'll go first and I'll make this quick. I think if you listen to this show on a regular basis, you guys know how I feel about idiot fans cheering on injuries. So my radio goes out to the Cincinnati Bengals for that nonsense that they done to Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, for those, if you haven't heard or didn't see the play, Vontaze Burfict got the sack on Ben Roethlisberger. Illegal sack, planted him. Ben Roethlisberger goes out with the shoulder injury, which I thought was a broken collarbone, but once again, it wasn't. As Ben Roethlisberger was being carted off the field, Bengals fans began to throwing whatever they could throw. Trash, beer cups, whatever. They pelted him with garbage as they was taking him into the locker room. Cheered as he was down on the ground. I'm not a fan of that. Once again, these guys go out there and they put their lives out there. They put their bodies on the line to entertain us. They don't have to do that. Yeah, granted, they're paid millions of dollars to do that, but understand that these guys have family members out there, people who love them, kids, wives, the whole 9 yards. Someone out there loves those players that are out there playing, putting their bodies on the line to entertain us. And at least that we could do is when one man goes down, regardless if he's on your team or not on the team that you're rooting for, not to cheer that, because you're supposed to be better than that. I got on Cowboys Nation twice about that nonsense. And so I'm getting on y'all about that nonsense.
I don't even know if this is really though against team fans anymore.
Yeah.
Like really though people in general, because
Right.
obviously it's not just in one city.
Right.
Because you spoke on Philly before. I mean,
Exactly. Let's be better than that.
there's no reason to cheer somebody getting hurt.
Right
Like,
on.
really though.
Exactly.
It's not that serious.
Exactly.
I like sports and all. I mean, I'm talking about it every day.
But we don't want to see nobody get paralyzed or taken out the game.
I mean, this is why there's so many problems with the NFL in general right now.
Right.
I mean, concussions, lawsuits, the reason
Exactly.
people stop putting their kids in high school football, all that above is because of these reasons, and you cheering it on.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then complaining when people were saying NFL and football is a bad sport. Well, it's kind of a gladiator mentality sport,
Exactly.
in which you just want to see some violence.
Exactly. So, Cincinnati, really though, floor is yours, fam.
My really though goes out to the Houston Texans. Usually there's like a sub story in which I kind of read it and say, you know, this is why they getting really though. There's none of that this time. This is zero story behind this one. Ain't no fans cheering nobody on to get hurt. They just getting really though for getting blown out 30-0. Like really though? Like you made the playoffs, you got blew out by 30. Didn't score a single point, like not one. Like you couldn't get a field goal.
I say really though to Bill O'Brien for saying when he was asked the question, did you ever consider putting in Brandon Weed at any time of the game? And he said no, he didn't consider it not one time. Bill O'Brien, really though?
I mean, you had to consider. That's anytime Brian Hoyer come in the game, that is what should be played.
Five time, he turned the ball over, and you gonna sit back and say you didn't consider it?
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Oh
Well,
man,
Brian, he the captain. You gotta go down with the ship though.
true story. Straight Titanic, like the band that was playing. You remember? Yeah. For those of you who have seen the Titanic, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking Leonardo DiCaprio to Titanic. When the ship was going down, and they steady just playing the violin and everything. Okay, maybe I'll just take a seat. I'm dead anyway. It's sub-zero freezing water. All right, forget it. Least I can do is listen to this dude and his violin.
I'm trying to get out. I don't care what the situation look like.
He said,
It can look dire. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to survive. That's how bad the Houston Texans were. We got on the topic of Titanic. Really though.
true story.
Great week of sports coming up. A lot to look forward to next week. We're all going to pick the NFL playoffs again. Of course, tomorrow, you know, we're going to be reviewing this championship game. More NBA probably some power rankings at some point this week. And we'll see if Steph Curry goes off again. All that more this week on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.